Welcome to the Dynasty Dugout Show, a podcast covering all things minor league baseball. Get a front row seat to the action with everything you need to know about the future stars of Major League Baseball. And now, here's your host, Chris Clegg.
Good morning. Welcome to the Dynasty Dugout Show. Today is Thursday, March the 20th. Spring training is about to wrap up, and we are going to try to wrap up all of our spring breakout recaps. I'm finally back from Florida, and I've got a lot to cover. A lot of time on the backfields. I think I had 9 backfield games while there and 5 spring breakouts. Written up all the spring breakouts. You can find all those on the site at thedynastydugout.com. And I wanted to hop on here and break them down, give you a little video as well. Today, we're going to cover the Twins and Blue Jays. It was actually kind of a lopsided matchup. You might have expected the Twins to be on top there, but the Twins didn't send a lot of guys. I think it was a little bit in protest that they had to drive from Fort Myers to Dunedin. If you don't know, that's a long trip. It's probably at least a good 3-hour drive. And so most of the teams didn't have to travel very far for spring breakout. I personally think the Twins didn't send any of their top guys, or most of their top guys, in kind of protest, because that same day, Emmanuel Rodriguez played on the backfield in the game. Desan Hill pitched. Charlie Soto pitched. There were a lot of big-name arms that pitched on the backfields. They didn't send the spring breakout. But enough of that. First, let's get to the sponsor, Connect Roasters. Sponsoring the show. Connect Roasters is Ian Happ's coffee company. It's an incredibly smooth blend of coffee. They do a great job of giving back to the community, and it's ethnically sourced and very, very good coffee. I make it every morning. I just finished my cup actually before hopping on here, but the cold brew that I make with the Gold Glove blend is incredible. So go to connectroasters.com, get the Gold Glove blend, buy one, get one 50% off using the code DynastyDugout, or use the link in the description. We're also partnering with Chinook Seedery. Chinook Seedery are the best seeds in the game, and you can get that in order of those 10% off by using the code DynastyDugout at chinookseedery.com. Let's dive right in. A lot to talk about. I actually want to talk about the pitchers first today because, honestly, the Blue Jays put out some good pitchers. Jake Bloss started the game. Bloss was phenomenal, honestly. Bloss came out and was pumping gas. Jake Bloss had his moments with the Astros last year. He made his major league debut, and honestly, it wasn't great. And so I think it gave some people some worries, but Bloss tossed 2 innings and allowed 1 hit, struck out 4 batters. I mean, I thought he was as impressive as Trey Yesavage was personally, and he generated 7 whiffs in 2 innings with a 85% strike rate. He pounded the zone. Fastball averaged 96, and it topped at 98. Had over 17 inches of vert from a 6-foot release height, and a rather flat vertical approach angle. Graded out well. Slider was 86, had about 5 inches of glove side movement with about 0 IVB. He spun it efficiently and generated whiffs at a 50% clip. He threw a couple changeups that said 90, good fading action on him. You can see those in the video, and 2 79-mile-an-hour curveballs. Thought the arsenal was extremely impressive with Jake Bloss. Maybe there's some fatigue on him because he came up and he didn't perform right away. But ultimately, I thought that Bloss pitched phenomenally. I thought he looked major league ready and feel like he could pitch in the Blue Jays rotation this year pretty quickly. So Jake Bloss was awesome, like all the Blue Jays guys, really. And then we had Trey Yesavage make his pro debut. He came in after. Honestly, the first inning was not good. He struggled out of the gate in the first inning. Fastball command was spotty. He really worked downhill. If you ever watched Trey Yesavage or seen his data, it's a very high release point. He works downhill a lot. He was almost working too downhill, and it was just inconsistent. The command was inconsistent at first, but he settled in quite nicely in the second. He had 6 whiffs in the second inning alone. At the final line, 2 innings, 3 hits, 0 earned, 0 walks, and 3 strikeouts. But the stuff was very, very good. The fastball worked 95, 96, topped at 97. Throwing from a high slot, he does create good ride, and it really sets up his entire arsenal. Yesavage throws this beautiful split changeup, and you can see it in the video. That thing is disgusting, honestly. He worked it in much more in the second. He was very fastball heavy in the first, but in the second inning, many more split changes. They set around 85. Oh, man, just a beautiful pitch to watch. I geek out over this when you can watch and you see those things. You don't even need the data to see how good that pitch was. It had 12 inches of arm side movement and 0 inches of IVB, so good depth and good arm side as well. He threw a slider cutter around 90, had 5 inches of IVB, 5 inches of glove side, so a good pitch. Fastball command got better. I think that Yesavage is a upside arm to dream on. Like, his performance was phenomenal, honestly. Khal Stephen came in and made his debut as well. He was drafted second round last year out of Mississippi State. He was pretty good. He spent 2 years at Purdue, and then he transferred to Mississippi State after being really good on the Cape summer before his junior year. And last year, he threw a career-high 96 innings. He had a 3.28 ERA with 107 strikeouts and 21 walks. Fastball set 93 miles an hour, but it played well. IVB north of 20 inches from his 6-foot release height, really good. The vertical approach angle from the release height was pretty solid too, so pretty flat from that release point, and really good extension on the pitch. He used it pretty heavily. That was kind of something to watch. He used it 65% of the time last year at college. Get away with it then. He used it 62% of the time in his 2 innings of work. So something to keep an eye on in the season. Like, hard to be that fastball heavy as a starter. Some can get away with it. You need an elite fastball. So I don't know. We'll see. The slider, Stevens' slider was his most used secondary, just like in college. Good carry. It kind of plays like a cutter. It's in the upper 80s last year, and it topped near 89. But it played around that upper 80s area, which was up a little bit from his college data. He did not throw his upper 70s curveball, though, in the start. Did, though, in college. I'll be curious if he mixes it back in more. And he threw a changeup around 85 with good carry and fade. So Stephen was awesome. Khal Stephen is a good name to know and store away. And then Kendry Rojas. Talk about some fun pitchers. They did it. Like, the Blue Jays put out the total opposite of who the Twins put out. The Twins put out Tanner Hall, and then really not that many people of interest. But really, like, Hall would fall below the 4 Blue Jays guys for me, and that's kind of tells you how they viewed this game. Aside the point, Kendry Rojas, longtime love, lefty, good stuff. Fastball has continued to tick up. In 2023, he used to sit like 92, 93. Last year, he ticked up 93 to 95. And in Saturday's game, 2 innings, but he lived 96, 97, which is absurd, with really good shape from the left side. I don't think he's going to sit 96, 97 in full starts, but that's really something to think about, how good that pitch is. Devastating changeup with late drop and fade to it. It was an 86 to 87 mile an hour pitch, good separation, velocity-wise and movement-wise from the fastball. Mid-80s gyro slider looked good, and he even added a upper 80s cutter last year that kind of stuck into the start. So Rojas looks like a guy. I think he's one of the better arms in the system. Doesn't get a lot of love, but the arms were a blast to watch. I mean, those were a ton of fun arms that the Blue Jays threw out there, and I came away pretty impressed by all of them. Mason Fluharty closed out the game. He's a reliever, fun arm as well. Not much to talk about from the Twins side of things. I mean, Tanner Hall started for the Twins, 2 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned, 0 walks, 2 Ks. Hall was fine. Like, he's not someone that, like, I'm, like, overly excited about. He falls pretty low in this Twins system, and it is a good system, so don't get me wrong, but the Twins did not send the arms that I would have liked. I would have loved to see Nasan Hill. He pitched on the backfields. That was unfortunate. Charlie Soto pitched on the backfields. They threw a lot of, got Connor Prelip pitched on the backfields as well. So just not a lot. Hall lived in around 90 miles an hour, 90, 91. Changeup was 83. Slider was around 83 as well. So fine arsenal, fine pitcher. Not a ton to love there like the Blue Jays guys. But we'll take an early break, and then we'll pop back in and talk about some bats. All right, let's jump back in with the bats here. Some more interesting bats. The Twins definitely threw out more interesting bats, despite not having Walker Jenkins, who's injured, and Emmanuel Rodriguez. But they did put out some guys that, gave us some interesting looks, which was fun. Luke Keaschall off the top. Keaschall's gotten bigger. He's a little bit stronger than he looked last year. He was impressive. I mean, Keaschall's a contact first bat with some sneaky pop. He gets to the pull side often and can lift it with authority. So I like Luke Keaschall a lot. He DH'd. He had Tommy John last year at the end of the season, so he wasn't playing in the field. I'm not sure he's back fully throwing yet. Well, the bat was extremely good, so his bat was great last year. It's good to see him back and hitting for some pop despite the TJ surgery, and he looks ready to go. So I'm very much in on Luke Keaschall, probably more than I was previously after seeing him up close and personal. He looks the part. Eduardo Beltre. Okay, this kid was a DSL stud. Like, he was a standout last year at DSL. We kind of take that with a grain of salt because it's like, who knows how it plays out when you come to the DSL. And the body, like, on camera, it doesn't look the best. And he's strong. I mean, he's shorter, stockier, stronger build. But Beltre moves really well. I was very impressed with the center field defense. I came away from the look at Eduardo Beltre, and I was kind of blown away by how good he was in center. He moves well. He had good first steps. He had good reads. He tracked down a lot of balls. I was pretty impressed with what I saw from Eduardo Beltre at the plate and in the field. He's got juice in the bat. The contact was a question in the DSL, but he did strike out one of his 2 at-bats, but I'm not overly worried about the contact. He's still really young. I'm kind of up arrow on Eduardo Beltre. Like, that was a really good look at him, albeit a small sample, but he showed some good things that I walked away feeling pretty good about. So Beltre, definitely an up arrow. Luke Keaschall's already up, so hard to put much stock in there. Brandon Winneker's still playing shortstop. He's massive. He's like 6'6", but he's very athletic. He made some good plays. He's got a good arm. He struck out in both plate appearances. Contact is the worry. There's power, there's speed, but he can be a lot of fun. Billy Amick's another one. He was a Tennessee Vol, drafted last year. There's big pop with Amick. He can hit for power. The question, again, is contact, and he kind of showed improved contact in single A. He struck out in one of his 2 trips to the plate. The Twins didn't give anybody more than 2 at-bats other than Keaschall, so that is interesting. Also fascinating that I didn't realize that the Twins did not walk. No Twins batter walked. So the Blue Jays did not issue a walk the entire game. That's how good they were. But you look and, I don't know, Amick gets really deep in the box. He's really squatty on his back leg. I think Amick's fine. He played first base. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the bat if he doesn't play third. So, I don't know. Mixed bag on him. Rain Don Collins one with some potential that could break out. I like Don Collin. He put up some pretty good numbers last year, formerly a Dodgers farmhand. I think there's some things to like with Rain Don Collin that hasn't got talked enough about. Diego Cartaya, another one from the Dodgers system. They DFA'd and traded over. Cartaya is major post hype. I wouldn't jump off the Diego Cartaya train just yet. Do I think Cartaya is going to pop off and be a top prospect again? No, I don't believe that, but I do think Cartaya still has some interesting traits. He still hits the ball hard. If he makes enough contact, he's a pretty interesting player. So watch out for Diego Cartaya. Gabriel Gonzalez, he's a name that gets a lot of love still. Not as much anymore, but Gonzalez is really squatty. He's very small. He doesn't move well. The glove in the outfield is not great. I don't think he has a position. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on the bat to hit. The exit velocities are below average. The chase rate's high. I don't know. I haven't been in on Gabriel Gonzalez. I took a lot of flack for that. I think I had him like 22nd in the system when I wrote it up in like November. I don't know. I'm just not in on Gabby G. So that's the Twins lineup. The biggest takeaways, Luke Keaschall looks back and ready. He's bigger. He's stronger. Eduardo Beltre, major dude. I think he can really pop off and be a guy. Brandon Winneker still playing short, which is interesting. Rain Don Collin, Diego Cartaya, kind of some deeper names to watch there. But Blue Jays certainly had their interesting guys as well, starting with Arjun Nimmala. Not much change in his body since I saw him last year. I saw him in July last season. He looked good, though. Nimmala hit several balls hard. He collected 2 hits. I like Arjun Nimmala. I've always kind of said it was going to be a slow burn with him, where this is a cricket player that's transitioning to baseball. It's going to take him some time, but I think Nimmala is a guy that could really pop off. He's a top 100 prospect for sure. He has the pedigree. He's got the power. I think if the contact ticks up, which I believe it can, then we're cooking. So Arjun Nimmala makes the plays at short look smooth and easy. He just looks the part on the baseball field, and that's, like, I really like to see that. Like, I like to watch and say, hey, like, Nimmala, like, makes all the plays. He makes it look easy. He's got a good arm. And the bat, like, I think the bat's really good with Nimmala. It's just a matter of time before he makes enough contact where he really pops. Now, Alan Roden, he should make this team and be the everyday center fielder while Dalton Varsho is going to be the DH. Varsho's shoulder surgery on his rotator cuff. He's going to DH to start the year. Alan Roden should 100% be the center fielder over Loperfido. Why? Because Roden's very underrated. He does all the right things. He's had a phenomenal spring. Roden's a great athlete. He runs well. And you may not think it, like, you look at him and the body's like, like, he's not going to be a good athlete. He absolutely is a great athlete. He runs really well. I don't know. I think Alan Roden is just be one of those guys that consistently flies under the radar. He's going to put up high OBPs. It's a very good approach. Really solid plate discipline. He checks a lot of boxes that I like to see. He plays a good center field. He runs well. He's just got pretty much everything you want to see. So I'm very much in on Roden. He smoked a double. He had a 108 exit velocity and a 100 exit velocity, if I'm not mistaken. So he hit a couple balls hard. He walked, showed his good approach. He checked a lot of boxes. That was the first time I've seen Roden in person, but yeah, he's everything I wanted to see and thought about him. He's a top 100 prospect. I firmly believe that. So I'm much in on Alan Roden. Orelvis Martinez also gets a lot of flack. I think people kind of crap on Orelvis and say, like, he's got a bad body, like he's just a power hitter with nothing else. It's a very athletic frame with Orelvis. I've seen him a couple of times, but I thought the frame looked better than it has in the past. And yeah, I mean, he struck out once, he walked once. At the end of the day, Orelvis has the power. The contact has improved year over year. He got busted for the suspension last year, missed 80 games. And I was kind of like, who is he? Like, is he going to have the Marte fall off that Marte did where he got popped and he just was terrible coming back? I don't think so. I think Orelvis looked fine. You know, he's going to hit the ball hard. We know that. I think he can take a walk. I think the discipline's okay. It's just a matter of, can he make enough contact? But Orelvis played second base and he looked fine. He's a good athlete, good frame, and we know it's plenty of power. Now, Edinson Paulino just hits. He's a smaller guy, came over from Boston. He's kind of a scrappy hitter that just puts the ball in play and make things happen. He had 2 hits, and he did everything you wanted to see from him. Peyton Williams also, he's the exact opposite of Edinson Paulino. I mean, Peyton Williams is massive. He's like 6'6". He's probably like 260. He's just huge. He had 2 hits as well and drove in a run. I saw Williams in the AFL. He's just a mammoth of a human being, and he's really impressive. So RJ Schreck, he's another one. Came over in a trade from the Mariners. Schreck's underrated like Roden. I don't think he's as good as Roden, but Schreck is certainly underrated in this system. He's got good underlying data, good left-handed swing, good athlete, and good plate discipline. Like, it's kind of the Alan Roden light. Yeah, the tools are there for sure. Sean Keys is somebody that I was looking forward to seeing. Sean Keys was drafted third baseman last year out of Bucknell, and he walked and struck out. So didn't get to see a lot from Sean Keys, but he had a decent-looking left-handed swing, a good frame. So I'm kind of fascinated with him and what he could become. Brock Tibbetts is kind of the name I want to highlight. Jacob Sharp started at catcher, and he had a hit, but Brock Tibbetts came in behind him. Tibbetts is fascinating. Tibbetts' name I've been hearing this offseason, where kind of a sleeper guy, late-round pick. Tibbetts kind of looked the part. He drove in 2 runs, he walked, and he had a single. Brock Tibbetts is fascinating, decent body. I'm kind of intrigued. So that's the Blue Jays and Twins. I know it wasn't as long as some of the other episodes, but hopefully the quick hit where you're able to take away some things, good info for you. There was a lot of fascinating things to like in that game. So very much in on some of those Blue Jays arms and prospects that really haven't got the love that they deserve. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of the Dynasty Dugout Show. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel or your favorite podcast platform, wherever you get podcasts. I'd love to see you back here tomorrow. We'll be breaking down the Orioles and Yankees spring breakout game, which was awesome. Great game there. But until then, we will talk to you soon.